In this video, I'm going to show you some things you can do with normalizing data as far as modifying words or excluding things or getting rid of maybe non-alphanumeric characters in the data. The first example, and these are things I've already done in advance with basically just the functionality of the software, like an address field here. This is the original for a vendor master file. To take that, if we wanted to look for, let's say, duplicates on vendor, or you just wanted to normalize the data so that you had consistency, there's functionality that allows you to take apart the field in different ways. So like for here, you've got the original, the 77-72184. You can take all the non-alphanumeric characters out. You can also there's something called a sort normalize, which in this case looks the same, but it actually will sort the words in the file a certain way as well in descending order. So even if things are out of place, depending on what type of field it is, that could make a big difference. So if it's the same words, the same numbers, they will match up. And that allows you to then, I guess, to decide what you want to do with the data. Now, if a customer wants to change their files, and maybe they're doing more of an ETL or they're loading data for another purpose, like reporting, then I've switched over here to another file. This one it's just an example of, we've got a name field, an original name that is a little bit inconsistent in that it's got a middle initial sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. And then over here on the far right, there's a phone number, and this is the original field from the system. So the goal here being split the name out. So one example here is taking the first and last name and knowing, and there's pretty straightforward as far as how to ignore that middle initial if you want. Changing the case if that becomes an issue too, or just a preference since it all came in all caps to begin with. Or you could just put it all together. So I've split it out here in one example. Maybe you're going to load the system that way and also the full. And then on the phone number, it's straightforward to do a mask or to force it into a certain format. So what I've done is just put everything into this format. You can test, first of all, up front, what I did was test to see if all of these had the 10 numbers I was expecting, the area code plus the actual number, to see if there's any errors. And then once that was done, went ahead and put the mask on it. There's also a name substitution file that you can use. So I'm going to grab that here and bring it over. And so what this is useful for is, think of it like with the street address that I was talking about before. If somebody wants to standardize and get rid of all the variances of STs and AV and AVE and all that, you can do that just through a text file, through a list here, and refer to it. So what's really nice is you can always come in here and modify this. So when they can run something, they see a result, they missed a few things, they can go back in and add or delete from this. Like here, I'm from Nebraska. So for example, I keep seeing up in Canada NB be the abbreviation for Nebraska, which it isn't. I could switch that into NE or spell it out. And that list can be as long as you want. And there's also a way that you can find things based on that same criteria too. You can have a list in a text file that allows you to search for all the words maybe that are, for whatever reason, of interest that you want to find. There's some of the functionality. I'll also include some documentation on the different things that you can do to make the data work the way you want it.